welcome back to our YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about our adventure for our family of 6 to relocate over to Thailand, Vietnam, and travel the world more broadly to include Africa. And so really right now, you're just kind of watching the early process of that. And part of the early process of relocating and planning the relocation to abroad means that we have to figure out what we're going to do for our children's education long term. So for us, we have 4 kids going at the age of 17, 14, 10, and then a 5-year-old going on 6 next year. So actually our 17-year-old is going to be going into 12th grade come August of 2026 here. And so he's going to be in his final year of schooling. So our cost projections is going to go down in terms of paying for his, schooling. He's going to be going essentially to college. And but part of that still, we still have 3 children to plan for in terms of how they're going to get their education overall. And a part of our move is going to be more like we're looking at a year out if our finances and our plannings and selling things goes into fruition. And so this is part of the process. So in this video, I am going to be talking about the 3 options you have in terms of educational implementation for your children, delivering education for your children. And for us, it's a little mix, actually. For the longest time, we thought that there was only 2 options, but in fact, there is a 3rd option. And something that I hadn't thought about, and you let me know in the comments below if you have thought about it already. I'm trying to get better in terms of asking people to like and subscribe to the channel to help grow the channel, give feedback, let YouTube know that this is relevant information. So without further ado, do that please, and then we'll go ahead and get into the content. So there's 3 options, like I said, for schooling your children. The options are international schooling, there's homeschooling, and as well as one that I had never thought of, which is to just solely use online educational platforms such as Khan Academy. I was watching a video the other day and someone suggested the idea and I was just blown away. It's like, Khan Academy. I'm familiar with Khan Academy. Khan Academy is excellent in terms of its educational value that it gives you at your own self-pace. It's great, but it's not particularly accredited. So in this video, I want to deep dive that a little bit more so that you can sort of get the value of how to kind of parlay it into the course of educating your children. So we're going to evaluate these based on 3 metrics. The first one is going to be academic validation. This is more to say like, how recognized is your education for your children going to be when they are integrating back into formal schooling or the university systems. And then we're also going to grade it according to flexibility and as well as cost. Flexibility is important, and cost is important, especially if you are going to be living abroad. In many cases, you have to be an entrepreneur or have a lot of savings already to be able to fund all your aspects of your life, essentially. So on the international front for education, so the academic validation is there's strong academic validations. A lot of colleges will immediately recognize, oh, you went to such and such international school. Oh, okay, you can easily enroll into whatever program they're offering. And so it's easily recognized and it's very structured. At the same time, the flexibility is not really there, right? If you go to an international school, you're locked into their geographic location, which is kind of the opposite of living abroad. And as well as you're locked into their calendar cycle for when your children go to school. So now you have to plan your life around the schooling for your children fixed at that location geographically. And the cost is really where it becomes prohibitive for us, because for international schools, the costs can range from about $15,000 per child to $30,000 more on average per child per year. So as you can imagine, that starts to eat at your nest egg if you have that. Or even if you don't have it, then it makes, if you don't have a nest egg and you're working still while living abroad, it really just means like, oh, you might as well have just stayed, at least for us, stayed in the United States. But that's not necessarily an option at this point. So very quickly, we have to move on to the next option, which is homeschooling your children. And this is where it becomes a little more palatable in terms of cost and the flexibility of living abroad. So on the homeschooling front, there are many accredited homeschooling programs, and I'll discuss a lot of them in this video. There's a lot of accredited home distance learning programs, and they offer transcripts that you can easily then use to then transition your children to the next stage of their learning, college, universities, and so forth. They're very mobile, like I mentioned, and they are very flexible in terms of your schedule and your timeline, and allows for a lot of family time, and you get to administer a great deal of it, right? The part that I love is that the cost can be very affordable, ranging from about $1,500 per month to, ranging from $150 per month towards the higher end of like $1,200 per month. That's still expensive, in my book, but there's a wide range there, and I'll talk about some options that you have later down in the video. All right, so that's homeschooling. But the interesting piece I had never thought about was more of using solely Khan Academy to educate your children. And I thought that was like, I'm very skeptical about it, because Khan Academy is a great resource. It's very interactive. It really exercises the mind. I've used it personally, and I learned a great deal in using it. But the downside of using it is that it's not accredited. It's at your own pace. They don't offer you a transcript. And so that can be an issue when the child is graduating to the next stage of learning. But at the same time, if you really think about it, it really isn't that bad, because how I kind of look at the Khan Academy aspect of just kind of using it to educate your children is that I believe if you act as the principal in your homeschooling process by using Khan Academy alone, and you ensure on a regular basis you engage with the child and making sure they go through the different programs and are actually learning, and you periodically watch them do certain courses to make sure they're really practicing the skills they need to be ensure that they have a good command of math, reading, and the sciences, then really that just means that your child should have enough educational awareness to then be able to, when they're ready, take a college entrance exam. And that's typically what's done. Like, when you go to university, you take a college entrance exam, you pay the fee. So long as your child can demonstrate proficiencies in being able to pass the reading, pass the test, pass the math, pass the sciences, have some historical context of being able to relate to this key aspects in history, and as well as maybe some econ principles or whatever, they should be able to get into college without major issues. And truthfully, if we're all honest with ourselves, given how AI is moving things forward and robotics and all the things, education is still important, but it's not the end all be all. And you certainly don't need to have your children to be A+ honors roll students, so long as they have enough information and knowledge to be able to get through the world, and more importantly, be self-starters and industrious and entrepreneurial in spirit. They will be able to succeed in whatever AI and robotics is shaping us all moving forward. And so that's what's really more important if we're truly honest. So trying to have a my child went to this, AAA accredited, and, doctoral program with honors and extracurricular activities is really not that materially important, unless you're super rich and you can fund your kids being part of some kind of country club or something. At least those are my opinions, and I'm just kind of sharing that. So all of this to say that I think the Khan Academy can be a really strong, viable option. But if we're being more realistic and more pragmatic, right, Khan Academy mixed with a homeschooling curriculum is probably the best option that you can have moving forward. It's certainly not international schools, unless you have the funds and capital, which I truly, unfortunately, don't have that. Don't have those funds. But you can help me out by liking this video and subscribing to allow YouTube to monetize this channel, and maybe I'll be able to afford that for my children. So yeah, in terms of accreditation and transcripting, homeschooling will provide you that accreditation, this transcript to allow your child to eventually apply for college and university very easily. At the same time, it's very well self-paced and high quality content learning, both from the homeschooling front or whatever curriculum you buy. Supplementing it with Khan Academy can be a beautiful combination, all of the while being extremely affordable. In terms of Khan Academy, it's entirely free and very flexible. And then the curriculum that you have in terms of the homeschooling that's accredited, offers the low fee of like maybe $200 to $500 per child per month, so forth. So yeah, that's essentially the options. So you let me know, what are your thoughts so far? Now, in terms of actual homeschooling options and different things, different places where you can leverage to actually get this going, that's where I had questions about, like, okay, well, what are some of the more reputable names? So if you have any experiences with others that are not on my list, or you have experience with the ones I'm about to list, please go ahead and help out other people watching the video by dropping whatever comments that an experience you have regarding them. So the first one is more on the premium option. It's called Laurel Springs Schools. It's US based, and they have different tiers based off of the curriculum tiers and things. And their price ranges from $800 to $1,400. Now, you can't necessarily get their pricing immediately off their website. You have to submit a form and reach out to them. And right? Like if you have to ask for time to basically consult with them to figure out how much, their schooling is, then they want your personal information, number one. And number two, it's not going to be cheap, right? Because they're hiding that behind reach out to us so we can really kind of talk you into going with us. But whatever the case is, AI was able to help me out to give a ballpark of $800 to $1,400 per month. And they have different tiers. And so per year, for your child between pre-K to fifth grade, it's about $7,000 to $8,000. Sixth grade to about 12th grade is about $9,000 to $12,000, and college preparatory is about $16,000. But it's entirely hands off. So as a parent, you just get to do whatever you're doing while your children get the whole schooling process all on their own. Now, we are, I feel like, a little bit more of a hands-on parenting. And so I can't, even though it says it's a hands-off, I would still be sort of managing and overseeing my children on a regular basis to say, how are you doing on such and such? And how's your grade? And all this and that. So I wouldn't really describe it as hands-off, even though they say it's hands-off. The next one is going to be Oak Meadows. Oak Meadows, this one is England-based in the UK. And it's from $200 a month to $350 a month per child per month. It's distance learning. Now, the price ranges is different because of it being either curriculum only, where they just provide you the curriculum without any supporting teacher administration overseeing it, or they have a full distance learning where they have a teacher grade your child's work and give you feedback and so forth. And so that's what the price differences is. Now, the curriculum only one is $500 to $1,000 per year. And it includes books, apparently, but no teacher grading their work. And the full distance learning one is about $1,800 to $3,200 per year. The next one on the list is going to be Keystone Schools. This one is also England-based. It is $150 to $250 per child per month. In total, that is $1,800 to $2,900 per year. And apparently they have a variance of 5 to 6 courses that they offer, and you get to select between 5 and 6 courses, and that kind of shaves off $100 or so off of the price. The next one is going to be more of a faith-based one. It's Abika Academy. It's a faith-based school. It's US-based. So that is going to be $80 to $140 a month. So it's very affordable. So I mean, it's a good option here for a lot of people. It's going to be $800 to $1,200 per year. And so, yeah, they offer some digital and physical learning materials in terms of books and so forth. But it's primarily parental supervision and grading to kind of oversee it. They just provide a curriculum essentially. So yeah, so that goes from the most premium to the lowest cost item. So my preference would be the Oak Meadows one. Again, that's the England-based one. It's $200 to $350 per child per month. And I would probably just go with the curriculum only option and then supplement with ensuring that my child completes the equivalent grade level on Khan Academy for math, for reading, and sciences is what I would personally do. That way my child is able to have a good command of different subjects. And when they apply for university, they'll be able to easily complete the math section, science sections, and as well as just general reading capabilities. Last but not least is just kind of to talk about some honorable mentions in terms of other schooling, homeschooling options, because that's the main theme of this video. So as far as that, the other honorable mentions, it's going to be Bridgeway Academy. They cost $900 per year to $3,600 per year. They offer more of an eclectic style of learning, where it's just kind of like mix and match. You get to select what you want your child to focus in on based off of whatever price point you pay. So check that out if that's something that interests you. Pearson VUE. Now, Pearson is one that's very active in the educational space here in the United States, especially for licensing of different healthcare professionals and just general other professionals in general. So for myself, I am a registered nurse here in the United States. And so when I registered to be licensed as a nurse and actually work professionally as a nurse, I had to pass the state licensure, and it was administered largely by Pearson. And a lot of our course content and materials were written by Pearson VUE. So they're very much in the academic space. For this per year for a child, it's going to cost $5,500 to $8,500 per year for each child. They offer traditional textbooks and as well as online textbooks and through their virtual schools. The next option is going to be Prisma. Prisma costs $12,000 per year. At that point, essentially half of the cost of a international school. So if that's something that appeals to you, they offer hands-on projects and sort of like a group cohort style. So they try to really kind of upsell the feature of, yeah, your child is remote learning, but they get to interact with other people who are online and they collaborate and work on projects. There's a lot of group interactions as part of that, so your child doesn't feel as alone. And as well, so it's a cohort option. Last but not least is the White Global. Now this one, the price blew me away. Apparently they are charging a whopping $43,000 per year, purportedly from my research. They offer university prep. They do excellent webinars. I don't care how awesome your webinars might be, but I am not paying $43,000 per year for all that stuff. So anyways, let me know, what are your thoughts regarding this particular video, these international schooling options, homeschooling and mixed with Khan Academy? Is that something you had thought about before? Let me know in the comments below, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.